Dr. Jekyll. I'm Dr. Henry Jekyll, I tell you.
I love Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is a novel by Robert Louis Stevenson, published in 1886, and has since become one of the most influential books in the horror genre, spawning countless adaptations across all mediums. This is one of those classic pieces of literature that's just ubiquitous to our culture. It feels as though people are born knowing the big twist in the book. Everyone knows that Dracula is a vampire, werewolves come out during the full moon, Frankenstein makes a monster, and Dr. Henry Jekyll has a severe case of split personality. I saw a few of the movie versions growing up, most notably the 1920 version with John Barrymore, the 1931 version with Frederick March, and the 1941 version with Spencer Tracy, which is my favorite version. Because of how famous the plot twist is, most versions tell the story more from the perspective of Henry Jekyll, but that's not the case in the book. Jekyll and Hyde is a character study on the duality of man. After reading the book in middle school, I was floored by how much of a disservice so many versions do to the story. Mr. Hyde isn't a Hulk monster, he's not a dark creature of the night, he's a younger, sprier, more unsightly version of Dr. Jekyll with none of his inhibitions. This is why I like the Spencer Tracy version so much. There is a distinguishable transformation, but it's subtle and mostly comes through in the performance. The book is also pretty suspenseful, especially towards the end. I won't say it's super horrifying unless the prospect of losing control over your body is terrifying, which I do find it terrifying, but the POV character isn't Dr. Jekyll, so there's a disconnect there. But it works because of how interesting Jekyll is as a character and how it can relate to anybody. Everybody has things about themselves that they don't like. Everyone tries to keep these impulses under control for the sake of polite society. And because the book doesn't get into detail on what those urges are, you can project your own base unworthy impulses onto him. That's why this character has embedded himself so deep into the cultural zeitgeist, probably more than any other character written in that century. On top of all the top-notch atmospherics and characterizations, there's also a bit of humor. "If he is called Mr. Hyde, then I shall be Mr. Seek," is an actual line in the book. Robert Louis Stevenson is more in line with the kind of writer I want to be. He's not overly flowery like Charles Dickens or as pedantic as Jules Verne, but he gets a lot of mileage out of his wordings and has a lot of fun with it, which makes his books even more fun to read, and that's why I love Jekyll and Hyde.